Today is hot. The only reason I'm not bursting into flames is because the humidity is 4,000%. That's probably stopping it. All right, get started. Oh, that's good. Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today, I want to talk about retirement, but not in the way that a normal financial channel would talk about it, because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not sitting here with a spreadsheet that's gonna solve all the issues and where everything's gonna add up correctly. I'm just a 57-year-old dad who's realizing that my retirement decision is not one single decision. It's actually a whole bunch of decisions that are stacked one on top of another. And lately, as I come to find each of these decisions, I'm starting to feel the weight of all of those decisions. So on one side, there's the math. And with the math, you're looking at the balances. You look at Social Security estimates. You look at how much college is going to cost to send my daughter to college. You look at inflation, insurance, taxes, and all that stuff that nobody seems to explain in plain English until you're already standing in the middle of it. And then on the other side, I look in the mirror and I think, how many good years do I have where I can keep saying what I want to do? That's the part of the calculation that doesn't show up in these retirement calculators. And I saw a few stories recently about people my age, Gen X. So AARP had this piece about Gen Xers expecting to rely on Social Security, but then, being worried about whether or not it was going to be there by the time they were ready to start accepting it. Another one talked about Gen Xers starting small businesses or flexible work because a lot of people are just not sure that they can stop working at 65. And then CNBC had another number that jumped out there that said Gen Xers may say that they need $1.5 million to retire comfortably, but the median 401k balance that they cited was nowhere close to that. And the question I would ask is, who are these Gen Xers that they're asking, and what are they defining as comfortable? But I don't bring all that up to depress anybody. I just want to bring it up because that explains why this stage feels so weird, because a lot of us grew up in this shift. And the shift was when companies went from giving out pensions to 401ks, and the message to us was basically, you're in charge of all of this now, good luck. And so the people from my generation, Generation X, we always did what we've always done, which is we adapted. We worked, we raised kids, we paid the bills, we've figured out a lot of things as we went. 401ks were pretty new. No one knew exactly how they worked because there was no one at the time they released it that knew what the end game was. So I had friends that were trading out of their 401ks. They were actually day trading their 401ks by watching CNBC. Was that wise? Was that profitable? I don't know, but I know that the next year after they did that, Fidelity put a quick stop to that. But now the bill for all that figuring out is coming due. And the question isn't theoretical anymore. It's, can I make all of this work in the next 2 to 3 years? Now that feels different. For me personally, it's not just a money question anymore. Money is part of it, but I have my daughter who's going to college in the next year or two, and that's a real thing. And you want to help your kid. You want to be generous, but you want to be responsible. And at the same time, I'm looking at my retirement balances and thinking, okay, how does this all fit together? But in the back of my head, I know this has to fit together. There's no choice. It has to fit together. So that's the weird tension that's there. And I've spent years telling my daughter, plan ahead, be smart, don't just drift into things. And then I'm hit with this season, and I realize now that I have to take my own advice. I don't want retirement to be something that happens to me because I got tired or sick or because I got pushed out, or worse, that I just couldn't keep going. I want it to be planned as much as I can plan it. It doesn't have to be perfect because nobody gets it perfectly, but I definitely want retirement to be intentional. I want it to be my decision. But here's the part that I keep coming back to. I don't want to work to the age of 62 or 65 or whatever the number is just because people are saying that's what the number should be. I don't want the number, whatever it is, to be the thing that makes the decision for me. Because there's a difference between being alive and then being able. So that sounds blunt, but at 57, I'm starting to understand that because my body is sending me memos, and sometimes those memos are in all caps. And I think a lot about those healthy years. It's not just the total number of years, because I know that total number of years is a lot longer than what my total healthy years is. So there are years where you can travel, walk, help your family, build things, enjoy mornings, be useful, be present. And then there are years where the calendar may still be moving, but your options are way narrower. And I'm not saying that in a hopeless way. I'm just saying that because that's reality. So one of my fears is doing all of the responsible things and then finally getting to the finish line only to find myself spending money on just trying to stay alive, like paying pharmacies and paying doctors just to keep me going. And that's a hard reality. That sucks. But I think a lot of people my age have some version of that sentence sitting in the back of their head. We don't always say it because it sounds ungrateful or dramatic, or it sounds like we're complaining, but it's there. And then there's the identity part. This is the part that a lot of people don't talk about because we're so focused on the number and making money last to the end. But the identity part is really important because work, for most people, and for me, isn't just a paycheck. Even when work sucks, when it's frustrating, work gives your day structure. It gives you problems to solve, and it gives you people who expect something from you. So when people say, I can't wait to retire, I get it. I understand. I say that too. I can't wait to retire. But then you have to ask the other question, retire to what? Not just away from what, but to what? That's why the small business thing made sense to me when I read it. I don't think everyone from my generation, like the 50 and up, I don't think they want to be entrepreneurs. Not everybody is geared to be an entrepreneur. But I think a lot of us are asking ourselves, is there a way to keep being useful without giving all of ourselves over to that old pattern of work? Can we do something smaller maybe? Can we do something that's more flexible, more human? Something that uses what I know, but doesn't consume every good hour that I have left. That to me is a much more interesting retirement conversation than just what's your number, because the number matters, but the number is not the whole thing, because there's actually a number of numbers. There's a health number, an energy number, a family number, a peace number, and a purpose number. And all of those are harder to calculate. You can't plug them into a website and then come out with a green check mark that says, yeah, you have everything lined up, you'll be safe. The practical side of me still believes that you have to do the math. You have to know what's coming in, you have to know what's going out, you have to know what debt looks like, you have to know what insurance costs will look like, what Social Security is going to mean, what are the college costs going to be, do I need to keep working while my daughter's in college? And then what happens if there's a bad medical year? What happens if there's a bad medical year when I'm working versus when I'm retired? You can't be vague forever. The older I get, the more I think that wisdom is not just having more information, it's knowing which trade-offs you're actually willing to make. If I keep working longer, maybe the accounts look better, and maybe there's health insurance that I'm not worried about, but what did I spend to get that time? Was it stress, mobility, time with my family? Am I being brave, or am I just being tired? Am I planning, or am I escaping? That may be the real point. For our generation, retirement can't just be a date on a calendar. For a lot of us, it's going to be a design problem. Maybe it looks like working part-time, consulting, downsizing, helping kids less than we wish we could, or delaying retirement while changing the shape of work so it doesn't take everything up. Maybe it looks like sitting down with someone who knows the financial side better than I do and finally letting them look at the real numbers. Not the numbers we hope is true, the real ones. And that's tough because I've managed my numbers for my entire life. 401k is doing good. I've managed my own investment accounts and they look okay. So suddenly releasing all that and letting someone look at what you've done and then admitting, okay, you can probably do it better, that's tough. And I think the important thing is you have to come to grips with the fact that this is a new season, and it's a season of stewardship. It's a season of saying, I don't have this solved. And when I think about it, like when I really, really look at everything, it becomes obvious. I'm in the middle of it. I can't see everything. I don't have an objective perspective. I'm looking at the same headlines that you guys are looking at, and I'm thinking about college, savings, health, timing, purpose, and trying to not make a decision out of fear or denial. Because guessing is not a plan, and panic's not a plan either. But somewhere between those two, there's a better path, a path where we tell truth about the money, about our bodies, about our families, and the kind of life that we're trying to build, and in the years that we still have strength to do it. See, maybe that's the retirement decision for people like us. Not just do we have enough, but enough for what? Enough to be present, enough to keep promises, enough to be useful in a new way, enough to enjoy some of the life that we work so hard to save for. I hope that resonates with some of you, because that's been what I've been thinking about lately. And if you're in your 50s or early 60s, I'd be curious on where you are with this. Are you counting down? Are you worried? Are you building a bridge or something different to get you to where you can retire? Or are you just trying to get through the next anticipated tuition bill or mortgage payment or doctor visit? I don't have any of that figured out, so there's no judgment here. I think a lot of us are doing the best we can with incomplete information, but maybe this is the season to stop drifting and start naming the trade-offs. Anyway, that's where my head is today. Leave me a comment if you're wrestling with this too. I would really love to hear how other people from my generation are thinking about it. Thanks for listening.